The Joe Rogan Experience.
But Joe Biden owns Come On Man now.
That is true.
He really does. Come on, man.
Crystal was just showing me a video that he flipped out at some reporter today. Did you see this? He's at this summit with Putin, and Biden lost his shit. He was asked a question that he didn't like. He turned around and started yelling.
I love when Kyle goes on Joe Rogan because it is the closest I and all of you will ever get to like hearing takes that are very similar to mine on the Joe Rogan show. Like, this is the only time you will ever get there. Like, that's it. It will not be closer than this.
Yelling?
No.
Yeah, no. He was very cranky old man status in this.
Dude,
I think it's from Fox News, Jamie, if you want to show Joe that.
He's legitimately falling apart, and it's really sad. You know what's really weird, though, is the media's... First of all, the left-wing media completely ignoring how odd it is the way he behaves. Like the one 9-year-old girl that was sitting there with her legs crossed, like, look at her over there, look at her.
Oh my God, dude, I'm actually mad that like we don't hear more Joe Bidenisms. Like, am I alone in this? Like, I personally want more Joe Bidenism. Left-wing media, by the way. Who's left-wing media, dog? What the?
Like a 19-year-old girl with her legs crossed. Like, what the? Are you saying? Like, what is that?
So there's
but hold on,
I'm sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
But then they'll like pretend things are happening that aren't. Like Glenn Greenwald called it out today on Twitter. I was reading his Twitter feed. Some guy was talking about how Putin and Biden shook hands and then how Putin looked away and then Biden's looking him in the eyes as if he's trying to say,
that's just alpha frame, sigma frame, bro. You just don't know any better. Pah! Pathetic, dude. I thought someone with fucking, ape brain like Joe would recognize when a alpha is holding frame, brother.
That in any way, Putin is scared of Joe Biden. That Joe Biden is like dominating Putin. Like, what a bizarre, like, and Glenn described it perfectly. Like, go to Glenn Greenwald's Twitter because it's so strange because they do this thing where these world leaders, they shake hands and they look at the camera and they shake hands and look at the press. And so in that moment, Biden had forgotten to look at the press. And he's making it seem like Biden's staring him down. He's showing him what a real man's like. It's like a bizarre fantasy, like almost like a pro wrestling thing. Like, you know that you can't possibly believe what you're saying is true. That Putin, who's a fucking straight up killer, literally, and a judo black belt, who's the fucking head of...
Dude, that's such a Rogan take. The first part of this is like, it's true. Like, imagine thinking that Vladimir Putin is afraid of senile Joe, but like he's got to go to he's a judo black belt. This is what I want, dude. I want this. This is the takes that I need to fucking hear from Joe Rogan, dude. He's a judo black belt.
The Soviet Union, well, whatever,
Former
Russia.
Soviet Union, Russia, yeah.
Forever. And probably will be till he dies. Killed a gang of people. Killed a bunch of people who don't like him. Killed a bunch of people who talk shit about him. Made journalists disappear allegedly, all those things I said allegedly. Like,
oh, there's the hand.
Joe, you better watch out, big man.
Handshake one, okay.
Look, they look at each other, shaking the eye, and then Putin looks away to the press. And
they're
so
making something out of that.
Imagine, look at this, but look at this. Look, scroll up, please.
Yeah, look at the way
scroll. No, where you had it, so I could see it. Just no worries. Biden looked Putin in the eye. Putin immediately looked away. What? But go to Greenwald.
Dude, what the fuck, dude? This is so fucking stupid, dude. You're literally... Oh, people that do this, like, this is literally incel theory, but from a liberal point of view.
Walls, because the way he covered it is hilarious. The way Greenwald made fun of him. Well, if you go, click show this thread. So, scroll down there. Scroll, right there. No, back, right there. The obsession over who squeezed whose hands hardest. Who led... I guess he meant let go. Who let go first of the grip? Whose body language shows masculine authority and whose shows submission? It's fucking demented. A bunch of liberal professionals not allowed to speak this way except here. So true. That's exactly what it is. He said Joe Biden can barely complete a sentence. Half the time he drifts off in the middle of his words. He's constantly bowing his head and muttering about how he'll get in trouble if he continues. Nobody is fucking afraid of him. Stop feeding liberal hordes this warped...
Yeah, this is a non-issue, chat. Not all of them have to be. Wait, what the fuck is this? Kyle has some cringe takes, but he usually just seems like a normal dude and not one of those weirdos like Hassan Piker. I can't hate him. His foreign policy takes are good. Just curious why you think Hasan is weird. He probably is more grounded than most individuals adjacent to him than you think. Not OP, but I don't think Hasan is everyone's cup of tea. He even acknowledges it. I wouldn't doubt he's more grounded than people adjacent to him, although that's not a high bar by any means. I've seen him in debates and clips of his streams. He's pretty much just a really aggressive socialist, yet also a state bootlicker. A state bootlicker? I'm a state bootlicker? What does that mean? How am I a state bootlicker?
Pablum. That's a weird word. Pablum?
Yeah. So,
yes, I'm sorry that I appreciate roads and infrastructure. My bad, okay? I know. Boys, I know. Yes, I admit it. I think roads are fucking sick. I think infrastructure is fucking sick. I think the American government is incredibly powerful and could do a lot of good, both domestically and internationally, if we reappropriated the funds into the right areas, okay? I'm sorry. I like that stuff. Okay, I'll admit it. I'm a state bootlicker, dude.
Pablum. You ever use that word, Jamie?
Pablum's a good word. So it's interesting because this is why people hate the media, right? Everybody feels like they're arguing more from a narrative than they are just sort of objectively describing what's happening. And with Biden, it's particularly weird because early on in the Democratic primary, when the media was convinced it's not going to be Biden, it's going to be Pete Buttigieg, or it's going to be Kamala Harris, or it's going to be, whoever, fill in the blank with whoever imploded and was terrible. They actually were open and honest about the fact, for example, that Joe Biden's sort of sundowning and he's not all there and he can't really complete full sentences. And so they actually were the ones who brought it up in debates with him, for example. Julian Castro very famously was like, do you even know what you just said like 5 seconds ago? This was a big moment in the debate. And
then they ended him, dude. Remember when, Julian Castro is like, he could have been a perfect Joe Biden admin guy, He fills the diversity role. He is still ultimately like someone who has like progressive takes, but he's a fucking neoliberal. And they literally fucking, they ice picked him, dude.
The media would openly talk about it. I don't know if Joe's all there anymore, but the second that he got the nomination,
they stopped.
Nobody's allowed to say it. And if you say it, you're a right winger. Exactly. Yeah. Even though, I was the biggest Bernie supporter out there, and I was like, here's a compilation of Joe Biden clearly having some mental issues.
Yeah.
And so it was just incredibly dishonest. And to your point on Putin and Russia, the narrative that they're using for Biden is he's tough, he's standing up to him. It was the exact opposite for Trump, where they were saying, oh, he's Vladimir Putin's puppet.
Yeah.
And they're actually incorrect for both of those things. So in terms of what Trump was doing, Trump bombed Syria, who's Russia's top ally. Trump rejected this pipeline called the Nord Stream pipeline, which would have greatly helped Russia. Trump armed Ukrainian rebels on the ground who are fighting Russia. Trump did a NATO buildup on Russia's border. Now, I don't agree with those policies, but those policies are incredibly hawkish and raise tensions with Russia. Now, in the case of Biden actually just approved the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, which is a pipeline that's going to greatly help Russia because it makes it so that Russian oil and gas is going to be used in Germany now.
I think that what Joe Biden is doing with respect to normalizing relations with Russia is not a bad thing. I don't think he thinks it's a bad thing either, though. I don't think Kyle thinks it's a bad thing. As far as what Trump did with Russia, like, it was business as usual. I don't know why. Like, the only weird stuff was aesthetically, Trump would routinely fucking come across as like defending Vladimir Putin to a degree that it was like weird that he wasn't like over the top reactionary against a foreign adversary. You know what I mean? You never saw an American leader cape for a foreign adversary in the same way that like Donald Trump did. That was the weird shit. But as far as like America's interest in the region, like and the way we treat Russia or whatever, like our proxy wars and stuff, like that didn't stop. I think that was the weirdest shit, though. I mean, and if you don't think that like Trump's behavior around Putin wasn't fucking strange, I don't know what to tell you. Like I was a big fucking criticizer of the Russiagate conspiracies, like going way overboard, way above and beyond. But like even then, like Trump's fucking POV on Putin was crazy. Hasan, you should get Kyle on your stream at least once. He has been on the stream.
And so that's a very That's a very peaceful move. That's not hawkish. That's not raising tensions. So he's basically giving Putin something that Putin wants, which again, I actually agree with that. I see no problem with the pipeline, but they're framing it as if like, Joe Biden, he's so weak and he's, Vladimir Putin, or excuse me, Joe Biden is so strong and he's dominating Vladimir Putin.